Today, it is our honor to introduce you to the designer of our national flag. At the time, she was Edrice Lewis. Now, she is Edrice Lewis-Viechweg. We invite her to first of all take us back to 1983 when we gained independence. Good morning, Ms. Viechweg. Thank you so much for joining us on Good Morning SKN.
Welcome.
Good morning and thank you.
It's our pleasure.
In 1983, your flag design was chosen from among others. First of all, we want to know what made you enter the flag design competition, and were you at any time intimidated by thoughts of the competition?
I entered the competition as a result of seeing an email that was sent through the finance office at the College of the Virgin Islands, where I worked on as a student. I received the email and I gave it to my boss, but I said, I think I can take part in this competition. After all, I'm a Kititian, and it says all Kititians and Nevisians, regardless to where you are. So I decided to do some research and enter the competition. I was never intimidated because I knew there would be a lot of entries, and I knew that one person had to win the competition. And whether it was me or anyone else, I was sure that the people who were choosing the designs would choose the design that was best suited for our situation.
You mentioned research. Did the research that you do enable you to come up with the design, and how long did it take for you to come up with this design?
Yes, the research was a big instrumental part in the design because I knew my history. I know exactly where we came from, and I know that I had to look at different aspects of African culture in order to come up with what I did. So being at the College of the Virgin Islands, I spent a lot of time in the library researching different African cultures. For example, me, I know that my great-grandmother is from Guinea in Africa. I know that a lot of us have Nigerian roots, so there is a lot of African in us. So I knew that I had to incorporate a lot of the colors that came out of Africa.
All right, and speaking to your incorporation of the colors, obviously we know what the end result of the flag is. Were there moments when you struggled with linking it back to Kititian roots per se, or was that connection easy for you to make?
That was pretty easy because I think everybody know what the colors stand for. Our first name, our native name was Layamiga, Fertile Island, green, which is also a color from Africa in many of the African flags. We know that every year we wake up, the sun is shining. If it's not, give it 5 minutes, it will be there. The yellow, year-round sunshine. The red, we have gone through a lot. From the time our ancestors arrived on the shores of St. Kitts and Nevis, we have fought, we have struggled. So the red represents the blood, sweat, and tears of our people from slavery to colonialism to independence. And the black represents our African heritage. The two white stars stand for hope and liberty for our federation. So no, it was not difficult to incorporate our culture into the colors.
Lovely. And I like the significance of each color. So did you have to sew the flag, or did you just submit a drawing?
It was a drawing.
Okay, lovely.
It would have been interesting if you had to sew. Are you a good sewer? Can you sew? That's the question.
Yes, I can sew. In fact, I used to make my own clothes, and I still do sometimes, even though I found that it's cheaper to go into a store and buy a dress than to make one these days.
Oh, that's interesting, but you're correct. These days, indeed.
So I have a follow-up question for you, Edrice. Did anyone assist you with
in the designing of the flag?
Yes.
No one assisted me in designing the flag. In fact, I was sitting at my desk one day, and a friend of mine, I'm going to use her name, she's still my friend. She's from Nevis, and her name is Andrea Busu. And she came up to me and she saw the design and she said, "Oh, you're designing your Rasta flag." And we laughed about it. But after the flag was designed, I have a friend in St. Thomas that I asked to do a painting for me because he's an artist. And I felt like, okay, if he does this, it's going to look really cool. So I gave him my design and he painted it for me. And that was what I submitted, the painting, not the raw drawing.
Well, that leads to my next question, because oftentimes when we speak to winners of competitions, it's one of the assumptions that I make, and I will confess this on the fly, I make it. It's about thinking that their first draft is the finished product. But I'm pretty sure that that's not the case in a lot of instances. Did you have to refine your drawing in any way? And if so, what was that process like?
No, there was no refining. It was just painting it exactly as it was.
Wow, so first time you sketched it, and this is what we're seeing. And it was,
Yes.
this is incredible, Ms. Viechweg. You have incredible skill.
I know.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
So you just told us the meaning of every color. To follow up, were you
Yeah.
the one that submitted the meaning when you submitted the flag as well?
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh, congratulations, through and through.
So how much, I have to ask you what your thoughts are. I know that you might not know what the criteria is, but how much of your winning do you think is attributable to the meaning of the colors as opposed to just the design?
I don't know, but I would think that a good percentage of it would be.
Yes,
Because the
yes,
colors,
please go ahead.
the colors talk about our culture and what we stand for. So I think that had a big part to do in it. I don't know if the people who were judging looked at that or they just looked at the design. I don't know because I wasn't a part of that.
Okay. So, Ms. Viechweg, during the break, we were discussing your connections still with St. Kitts. So, I need to know, was it a hard decision to leave St. Kitts? And we know that although you're living abroad, you are part of many charitable foundations and you give back to St. Kitts. So, can you speak to that for us?
I actually left St. Kitts to go to the College of the Virgin Islands to study. And that was the reason why I left.
Okay.
I did not return. Actually, for personal reasons, I did not return. But I do come back home, and I have maintained my connectivity with my homeland.
Okay.
All right, so you were talking to us a little bit about your ability to donate school supplies, not only your recent visits home, by the way, because you came for 2 weddings, you told us, so great reason to come back to St. Kitts and Nevis, but you have family here and you visit every year.
Yes, I do.
And you also donate. So can you give our viewers a sense of what that charity entails?
For the schools, I give backpacks filled with school supplies, books, pencils, erasers, pens, scissors, everything they need for school. And when I give uniforms, I would give each student 2 uniforms. I give them shoes, I give them socks. For the carding home, when I do the carding home, I give, the last time I did it, I gave sheets, things like Pampers for the people who needed them. I gave shoes, flip-flops, soap, deodorant, towels, rags, t-shirts, nightgowns, house dresses. I gave each person in the home a bag with stuff that I thought they would need, and the stuff that was left over, I left them at the home so that they can give them to the people as they need them. At the children's home, I give the same sort of stuff, not the sheets, but I give like deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrushes, rags, towels, stuff like that. And I also gave them games at the children's home. A couple of years ago, I read in the newspaper that somebody had broken into the children's home and had stolen the kids' bikes and things like that. And I called and I asked, how can I help? And they said to me, we really need a security system. And I said, okay, I will get you a security system. And I did. And I went down and I gave it to them. I don't know if it has been put into use as yet, because I know they were waiting for fencing. The people that I give at home, I give them, I was told by the ministry things that I can and can't give to these people. So for example, if they told me somebody was diabetic, I know I had to give them something that they can use. So I gave them Glucerna, which is a drink for diabetics. If they were not, I gave them Ensure. They got sheets, they got towels, rags, toothpaste, toothbrushes, deodorant, powder, and things like that.
You're
So
really
that's what I
connected
did.
because it's so magnanimous of you to do that, and I'm really grateful that you are able to do that for people here. Talk about maintaining your connection. You definitely have done that, so thank you so much.
Mrs. Vedrick, what got you into charity? We know Monday was International Charity Day, but what got you into giving back?
I felt like I received a lot from my country, and I knew that there were people who also needed help. I'm going to tell you something about me. When I was 15 years old, my father died, and I was raised by a single mother. And I know it was not easy for her. Yet I never one day went without anything I needed. So I just wanted to give back and to help people that I know needed the help. And that's why I decided to do this.
Well, that's a great reason. I'm sorry for your loss of your father at such an early age, but I'm grateful that it inspired you to give to other people in the way that you have. So we want to pick your brain a little bit, and well, in doing so, we'll ask you this question. Although I can predict, I think, how you will answer it. But the question is patriotism an outdated concept?
No, it is not, and I do not think it will ever be outdated. And the reason why I say that is because if we say we love our country, then we are patriotic, because patriotism demonstrates the love that we have for our country. It is the bond that ties us together and that helps us to stand on common ground. It is what enables us to give back to people in our community, people who need it, to help, to lend a shoulder. Wherever anything is needed, patriotism is what allows us to do that. If we are not patriotic, then we won't care about the country and we won't care about anybody at all in the country. So I encourage everybody out there who's listening to think about this. If you love your country, you are a patriot of your country. And think about seriously what it means and how you can show your patriotism.
So Mr. Glenroy Blanchett was here early this morning, and he told us when Mr. Bradshaw was being hospitalized in England, the Queen asked him well, she went to give him knighthood, but he asked for the independence of his country. We know what independence meant to him. So what does independence mean to you?
To me, independence means the ability to choose for ourselves instead of having any colonial power choose for us. We are now able to choose for ourselves. But with that choice, we have to know comes responsibility. So we have to choose responsibly. Anything we want, we choose it, we can get it. I know that we're a small country, but when we look around, we see great things. I'm always pleasantly surprised when I come home and I see the great strides that are made in the country, even year to year. It makes me very happy. I look at social media, I see the students who are going on to do great things. We have so many doctors, lawyers, just name it. We are architects and divisions, and we're doing it out there. We're competing with the biggest countries in the world. That makes me proud, and that is because of our independence. So kudos to Mr. Bradshaw for asking for that for us.
Absolutely correct. And I love your answer, Ms. Viechweg. And we're celebrating our 39th year of independence in a matter of a few weeks. When I see that flag, when we raise it, I will be even more proud for having had this conversation with you and getting the insight that went into your designing our national flag. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Good Morning SKN. It has been our absolute pleasure.